Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Fireside Chat and Chat with the Xperts. I'm your host, Megan Bergsma, and we also have our co-host, David Kruidho this time. So we're co-hosting instead of Dr. Bill Kruidho, so a little switch up for today. And today's topic is all about education and trying to, and also workforce development and getting students into the right jobs and developing that cultivation between the job site and their education, or where they are going for education. And helping us with this topic today is our special guest speaker, Grant Parsons. Grant, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me. And I where's the fire? I thought there was going to be a fireside chat. Maybe the fire.
It's on the graphic before we start chatting.
It's on the graphic.
The metaphorical fire. I'll tell you.
Yes, it's very dangerous right now at this time for fire for California.
I feel the warmth of my LCD screen here.
There you go.
Yeah, I feel the warmth of my computer as well. So, Grant, let's get this started. So you work right next door to us, Cal State San Marcos. And you are the Director of International Enrollment and Partnership. So for the audience, please explain your role and how you help students.
Sure. So I've worked at California State University, San Marcos since January 2014. And I came here working for what was called it is still called the American Language and Culture Institute. And we would bring students here for intensive English program to hopefully get their English up to level to hopefully either enter CSUSM at this university or transfer them to another U.S. university to finish their bachelor's or master's degree. And then we also did a lot of these short-term programs. We did these programs that would be anywhere from 2 days to 6 weeks that were customized for international groups of students. So we had students from Chile, from Brazil, from Taiwan, China. Iraq was one program that we did during a summer. So we would do these customized programs and bring these students in for that period of time. And sometimes they'd be focused on sustainability. And sometimes they'd be just focused on ESL and kind of fun in the sun, Southern California activities. And then we had STEM ones, and then global business. They started getting really specific, and it was really fun to put these things together. We live in such a fantastic region that we were able to find all these site visits to go to, or workshops with these true experts in these areas. And that's how I came into contact with Creative Electron. Was we had a partner university in Japan that was looking for 2 private visits, and Tess Sangster at the city of San Marcos put me in contact with Dr. Bill, and he was going to host that group. It was 30 global management students that were seeing how Creative Electron did what they do, and we hope to do that hopefully fall 2022 again. I kind of any inbound program now. So now my role is kind of expanded to that position title that you mentioned, which I'm not always fond of because it makes it sound like I'm just trying to get students here and sign an agreement and then I'm done. But what I really, really want to instill in what I do is making sure, students get here, but they really have the most opportune experience to get all that they were hoping for. And for our degree seeking students, making sure that they stay here and that they have opportunities once they graduate, which I think we'll get down to in some of these talking points, and also make them come together with our in-region students. The Californians are out of state, Americans that they may never study abroad, and this is their one opportunity to meet somebody from Tajikistan or from Laos. We have some great international diversity here at CSUSM, and so that's in a real spontaneous explanation of what I do, summation of what my role entails.
That sounds like a fun job for sure.
It is fun. the beard is getting grayer with each new, but yeah, and we, like right now we're talking, a new program with we actually Griffin with the MBA program. It's the SMBA, not the FEMBA, but they will be doing 6 Italian students from Piacenza that are going to be here for spring and summer, but they'll be arriving during Christmas, so that'll be an interesting time to facilitate the arrival. But yeah, it's never a dull moment.
That's awesome.
Here, so
how long have you been with Cal State San Marcos doing this?
So it'll be coming up 8 years. 8 years about, and this is such an amazing camp. I came from another CSU that was great as well, but when I came here, there was just such a breath of just there were always conversation starters, internal to campus. People would, sure, you got a group of 150 Chinese students, you want to do a sustainability kind of workshop, sure, we'll talk about that. And then also likewise with Creative Electron and just community partners, they're often, at least you could have a conversation. There was never, no, we don't do that, or we're not interested. So yeah, I found this region to be really, really fun and yeah, it's people are definitely thinkers and innovators in programming and what they can do.
Awesome. Piggybacking on that notion, a couple Fireside chats ago, we actually had the mayor come on into our Fireside chat, and we talked about how San Marcos is pushing for this idea of being the educational hub. We have Cal State San Marcos, we have Palomar. How important it is for your role and to inspire students to really get a U.S. degree, and why having a U.S. degree will kind of steer your career.
Yeah. So for us in general, it can be quite competitive to get international students here. The CSU San Marcos is a relatively new university, even within California, within the system. So what we have to really highlight is the region itself, beyond just being a 4-year California university that's part of the CSU system. We really have to highlight those things. So, you mentioned Mayor Rebecca Jones, I believe that, yeah. And so she, when she took over office, she's hosted groups at City Hall there, and they, with the Iraqi group, we have photographs of it. They got to go behind City Hall, do a mock kind of City Hall thing, and you just, that was so powerful. And just even the fact that the mayor would take the time to do this for this really impressive group, the most talented students throughout Iraq, and there is that. Students are able to usually get kind of work authorization in the region, after graduating. We have a pretty good success rate of doing that, which our office facilitates. Of first-year students, when they graduate and get their bachelor's or master's degree, they have X amount of time to get work authorization before they have to return to the country. And we have just a lot of students that graduated and now work at Thermo Fisher in the biotech area. The life sciences in this North County region are strong. Another one that we're looking to really highlight here is the action sports area. That's something North County, San Diego, and probably a little bit of Orange County. Is like the capital of the world for this stuff. And with Olympics now having skateboarding, surfing, this will now, those countries that normally weren't doing those sports now will be looking for somewhere to either get the gear or get the training and how to train. So that's another area that we're looking to highlight for the region. But and then engineering as well, the Viasat new engineering program, donations from the community and getting that running. That's going to be there's a regional need for that. If there's a skills gap for that. So we hope. And not only that, if students want to work abroad, sometimes, they, through our office here, there's potential for internships abroad and just getting study abroad experiences outbound. So
that's awesome. Yeah, it's been great watching Cal State San Marcos grow just the last 10, 15 years even. I don't remember exactly when it was founded, but it's been growing.
1989.
1989.
1989.
Okay.
Yeah, it started in.
I'm older than the university. That's great.
32 years.
Yeah, it's real. I mean, even since the 8 years that I've been here, it's really. I mean, this building that I'm in here, this we got to move in here fall 2019, and
yeah, I recognize out the window there. It's where all the little restaurants we are, because I think we're like right behind you, just like 3 blocks behind.
3 blocks.
Yeah, I've walked it a couple, or I think once, maybe twice. I've walked over your facilities.
Yeah,
it's a good walk.
Over on Trade Street. So it's been awesome the way that we love innovation and driving things and coming up with new ideas, and it's awesome to be in that environment. Right, it's not unique to Creative Electron. We're doing this right in North County. We're San Marcos, the mayor pushing for these things. Cal State San Marcos really pushing and growing. It's great to be a part of it in that community.
And from what I've seen, just in my it's kind of been purposeful. It's not just like, oh, we're growing together. Like, it seems like the city and the Cal State San Marcos has really been kind of community engagement, and has been kind of in its DNA from the beginning. Because it's not always that the case. Because I've come from a couple other universities where, there was the university and the community, and it was just, almost heartbreaking to see there's so much opportunity here, for both sides, but just it wasn't there, and there'd be all these initiatives to improve it, but it was kind of, it just wasn't as, it was like night and day almost when I moved here. That's exciting to be a part of.
So at Creative Electron, we manufacture everything in-house, and we build our machines. We take a lot of pride in that. And to a lot of our customers, the value there is that it's done locally. Sport is local, that kind of thing. Whereas you're offering locals and not so local, and then also abroad, what you manufacture is degrees. What's the advantage there of someone traveling thousands of miles to Cal State San Marcos versus where they're at? It's a value proposition, so to speak.
Yeah. So that's a very good question. So actually, one of the things that
besides the weather,
we're looking into,
not just the weather.
Not yet. Well, that is a big reason why students do come here, especially for the shorter term periods. Usually it's the how close do you live to the beach conversation, and we do live in
a train ride over, right? A 10-minute train ride in the spring.
Yeah. And so the value proposition for students studying here, particularly to get a degree, is largely what are their opportunities going to be once they get that bachelor's degree from the CSU, and so. How do we show that? How do we improve it? Like I said, some of our optional practical trainings, that's work authorization once a student graduates, and they're provided, but also in some of the degree programs, a large majority of them have internships that students do in the program, and they're usually locally based. And so that opportunity isn't always there, either within the international office, because we have dedicated staff people to help facilitate that work authorization piece. Whereas universities don't necessarily have to do that. They can just say, here's what you need to do, and, get it approved by basically Department of Homeland Security. But, we really facilitate that process. And so we try to show what our placements rates are percentage wise. And then also just where students may go after they graduate for that work authorization. So, and there are many cases that students do find placements within the region because there's a lot of opportunity within the region. So, whereas that's not the case with a lot of universities where, there's maybe a university town, but there's not much else going on elsewhere. So they end up having to find somewhere across the United States for a site. And the other thing is, what we're really trying to look into is assessing how our majors and what positions people can get in their home countries. I think they call offshore employment. So basically, what's the likelihood that when a student from, say, X country, what if they study biotechnology here, what is their percentages and what are their opportunities for when they go back to that home country with that field of study? And so, and there's some consultancy groups that can help us do that type of work, but a lot of it we're trying to do on our own to just prove to the students, because sometimes majors they mean something to some country, but what we actually do here specifically doesn't exactly translate. So particularly like, biotechnology, some of these areas that are fairly new, they're just called something else, or they're in another area. So we try to show those outcomes to students and particularly their parents. A lot of it is still parents that are and families that are supporting the students on this rather large investment in their education and opportunities. So so that's one that is one value proposition beyond the weather. And I think that's one of the key ones.
It is nice. Gotta admit.
Yeah. And so we look at some of those we're trying to develop some of those percentages for placements, and then also for getting job opportunities back home. But then also these days, a lot of our alumni, all we have to do is send an alumni link to a LinkedIn page of where what students are doing after they got their bachelor's degree here or master's degree. And, it's a real kind of simple proof is in the pudding type of thing. Do they see they studied here? Now they're working at Thermo Fisher, or they're back in their home country, working for Saudi Airlines or something like that. So that's we're trying to be in our storytelling of what the university can do is trying to present some of those more effectively.
That's good. It's good that you have like a very powerful alumni network to help facilitate, job opportunities. Aside from, helping them get a degree and making sure, or they are highly encouraged to stay in the region, not only be with like the statistics of opportunities here and also the weather. Yes, the weather is very important. Is Cal State San Marcos program also helping develop them the skill sets, like not traditionally in the programs at the like engineering, but more of like the skills of how to interview properly, interviewing techniques, how interviewing is different in America versus their home country. So I'm pretty sure there's some cultural differences that do come about when you start going into the workforce, especially in America.
Yes. And fundamentally, Megan, the whole liberal arts education sometimes is very different from these where you have to take 2 years of general education just to become a better person and civic duty and stuff like that. They say, well, I just want to study engineering. So so there's that kind of foundation, which I always find quite amazing, because it's just so foreign. But then once they go through it, they'll often change their major, or they'll become something different through that process. So there's that. But then the university has had over the years what's called the Took What Leadership Circle. It's a leadership program where they do exactly that. It's part of the co-curricular programming, and some of our partners that send us students will require students to be a part of that program, because they do exactly that. They do different leadership seminars, networking things. They also do a kind of community service project. It's called Empower, and they get a certificate from UNESCO when they do that. Then they also do an exit interview, and they do a resume, because a lot of our Europeans are like, well, we can't put our picture on our resume, so
not a CV.
So it is very different, but at the same time, they're looking for back home. They just need to be able to kind of code switch depending on what the employer, where they're based, right? As the world becomes more global. They get a lot of those skills here. We just did a workshop, I think, this week actually was International Education Week. I don't know if you knew that, celebrated all around the world. So we just wrapped up a lot of sessions for the university. And I think, what was the one called yesterday? Oh yeah, overcoming obstacles, job search for international students. So we did one of those sessions yesterday. And so, yeah, we offer a lot. And it's, you know, that aspect of things is always interesting across different universities because they're, you know, career services, internships, where they're all kind of housed. But, you know, our office really tries to unite those for our population of students. So we're the ones delivering those workshops and things. So because it's not just finding a job, it's also the immigration, you know, implications. You know, if you do this now, think about it down the road if you ever wanted to apply for a future visa. So there's quite a bit to think about.
Yeah, I learned a lot with this program, and it seems very exciting. And can't wait for Creative Lectron to collaborate with Cal State San Marcos again and host your students, those Japanese students, and any other international student too.
Yeah, we could do a live stream when I get those Japanese partners over. Yeah, and actually we have quite a few. We have like almost this spring we'll have about 50 French students come from a private computer science. But if you guys are open to do a tour of your facilities, or some of them might be interested in seeing that. So we'll stay in touch.
For sure.
Thanks for sharing the fire with me.
Yeah.
Yes. Thanks for coming over. Thanks, Grant.
See you guys soon.
See ya.